prophet Zephaniah. 1. Judah's mightiest warriors would cry out in fear and distress, utterly defenseless against the fierce Chaldean invaders from Babylon. The Babylonian army was both enormous and relentless, reducing Judah's strongest soldiers helpless in their battle. 2. The day of the Lord would bring his wrath in judgment against them for their apostasy, indifference towards him, idolatry, corruption, sexual perversions, greed, lust for power, deception, oppression, neglect of the poor, cheating, and utter depravity. 3. The day of the Lord would bring psychological, emotional, and spiritual stress caused by various afflictions and sufferings. 4. It would bring an unprecedented storm, causing complete desolation and ruin. 5. It would bring about a profound sense of gloom, hopelessness, and despair. 6. It would bring clouds so thick and dark that the sky would seem black, offering no way of escape. 7. Lastly, the trumpet would sound the alarm, signaling the start of a swift invasion of the Chaldean army. They would target the walled cities and the mightiest fortresses. Nowhere would be safe, and every place would suffer. Judah's defenses would crumble against the Chaldeans' assault, with even the most indestructible being destroyed. Zephaniah then urges the people to come together, recognizing the imminent judgment of God due to their sins, for reflection, repentance, and seeking God's mercy. He describes the looming day of judgment as a storm gathering on the horizon, emphasizing its imminent and unavoidable impact. He encourages the humble to continue their quest for righteousness and humility, suggesting that their sincere repentance and dedication might offer them protection during God's wrath. Zephaniah prophesied God's judgment not only Judah, but 4 other surrounding nations. The cities of Gaza, Ashkelon, Ashdod, and Ekron would face God's severe judgment for their offenses against his people. The nation of the Philistines would be utterly destroyed, and the coastal land in Canaan would become a pasture for livestock for the remnant of Judah. God's judgment would come down hard on the Moabites and Ammonites for their years of brutal treatment of the Israelites. They would be annihilated. Just as Sodom and Gomorrah were wiped off the face of the earth, the Ethiopians, descendants of Cush, the son of Ham, were defeated by God for their belief in their powerful armies and strength would not protect them from his judgment. Those who sought to destroy his people would face the Lord's wrath. Next, God directs his attention to the Assyrians in the north. This nation, the most powerful and feared of its time, had subdued every known power, including Babylon and Egypt. They enslaved those they conquered, seized their riches, and murdered indiscriminately. Due to their ruthless nature, God was going to punish them harshly. Their false pride and strength would be brought low and humiliated. Zephaniah then prophesied about Jerusalem, Judah's capital. The coming judgment would be devastating to the people. They had exploited, oppressed, cheated, and abused one another. Even though he came down hard on Judah's leaders, officials in government, and her rulers because they preyed upon the people, especially the weak and vulnerable, they still continued to be self-servants and public scoundrels instead of public servants. He unveils the corruption of the priests, ministers, teachers, and prophets, focusing on their arrogance. The priests had grown proud of their elevated positions and the honor bestowed upon them by the people. They had lost their humility and reverence for God in their service. Equally corrupt, the prophets sold their services to the highest payer. Even when they weren't blatantly defrauding the people of money, they fabricated prophecies from their own dishonest hearts to win the people's favor. Zephaniah concludes his prophecy with a message of hope, emphasizing what God will accomplish. God will purify the people, cleansing their hearts so they will no longer speak from corruption. They will worship and serve God together, reaching even to Ethiopia. The meek and humble, the remnant will remain, and the people will live in prosperity, peace, and security. God will defeat and cast out all their enemies, becoming their king and protector. The people will sing and rejoice wholeheartedly. God will be with them and save them. He will gather his people for worship, removing their sorrow over missing the appointed assembly. God will deal severely with all who oppressed his people and ultimately restore them to the promised land. The book opened with idolatry, wrath, and judgment, and closes with true worship, rejoicing, and blessing.